Hi guys, welcome to another movie crew review. Today we'll be reviewing Mickey 17.
The movie stars Robert Pattinson, Naomi, Ackie, and Mark Ruffalo.
So based on the book Mickey 7, we follow Mickey Barnes as he's fleeing Earth to Niflheim, this planet that's 4 years away, as he applies to become an expendable, a lab rat style human, and works on the planet to make relations with the creepers. So we're going to get into the review. I'm going to start it off. And right from the get-go, this film, the premise of it was just intriguing to me. It's right up my alley in terms of sci-fi and cults and church things. So it pretty much hits all the boxes for me in terms of interest. So positives are so many that to list this video would take forever, but the aesthetics of the ship were something that were really cool, and seeing the differences between like Mark Ruffalo's character's apartment and how he lives compared to the rest of the people and that kind of hierarchy that's going on. I think that Robert Pattinson's character, the Mickey character, is done really well. It's found out early on that there's multiples going on in the film. So there's a Mickey 17 and a Mickey 18. And even though they're same faces, same look, they feel like two different people, which I think in a film where you're doing a lot of face swapping is, for me, something that's not easily done and easily pulled off without it making it look too cartoonish. But it's interesting to see the ethical dilemmas and the way that they treat Robert Pattinson's character throughout the film. Some people give him the respect of a human, while others treat him just as a lab rat to be tested on, be disposed of, be used and abused anyway. So I think that the premise of the film is interesting. All the things that happen throughout the runtime are good. The first half for me was a lot more compact and everything flowed a lot better than second half, but still over the 2 hour, 17-minute runtime, you had a good story progression. Everything wraps up nicely at the end. It's a intercontained self little film, so you don't need to be expecting to see a sequel to this. But probably for me, my favorite character of the film was Mark Ruffalo's character. He's this, I'd say, dictator-esque, but slash with a church kind of deity person. He's the leader that everybody's aspired to. It's quite funny to see him, and yeah, I was just really interested in that character and seeing him throughout the film change, and his wife was kind of like that driving force. So I was really interested from start to end for all the characters, and yeah.
So Robert Pattinson, I think he killed this role. He was so good. So Mickey 17 is like a mumbling character. He stumbles upon his word a lot, sort of like myself. And then we have Mickey 18, who is sort of a badass. He's like, we see, like, I would say Robert Pattinson, like he was in Batman. So he's playing two different characters, and they are, like John said, they are very much, you can tell them apart, and that was very well done. And the storyline was pretty good, especially with the creepers. I think the way at the end, like they tied up how the creepers like play the role in this movie. That was very good. Naomi Ackie, she had like a speech at the end, and she was swearing her head off, and that was so funny, but yet so impactful. But I have a major, not a complaint, but I have a problem with this movie, which like holds me back from loving it a lot. I think that was the cartoonish, tone to it. The tone was very conflicting, and I disliked whatever Mark Ruffalo and Tony Collette were doing. Like their characters were, the way they were written were very cartoonish, and so we have the tone is basically, it should be, in my eyes, should be more serious, but we have, it's like Mickey is dying, like one of them is getting killed. It's not hitting hard. I get why it's done, because we have to like Mickey 17 more, but even Mickey 17 for the most of the part, like I'm not that attached to him. So I think the tone was a major problem for me. Hammer?
Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything the boys have said. For me, the acting in this movie was superb. I think every actor and character was portrayed really well. Pretty much every character stands out. There was a few characters in this movie, so for them all to stand out individually, I thought was really done well. But yeah, Robert Pattinson, geez, he blew me away with this one. Just Mickey 17. I love how he changed his whole voice and his acting and just to fit the character. I think it melded so well together. And then you had Mickey 18, who was just the complete opposite, and he just turns it on and off. And the confliction between the two were great, and just the diversity it showed was really well done. But yeah, Naomi Ackie, I thought her character took a spike for me midway through the movie. I didn't think her character would take such a serious turn. She just sort of came off to me at the beginning just like this love interest sort of character, but then towards the end she really turns it on its head and just becomes this real serious take authority character, and I really did like that. I did enjoy Mark Ruffalo's character. I thought, yes, it took the serious tone a little bit away, but it gave it sort of a more political direction, whereas without his character, I feel like it probably would have just been way too serious for me and maybe just blurred in the background. But for me, for that sort of comedic pillar in the movie, it just sort of broke it up a little bit. But yeah, the aliens in this movie, the creepers, my God, they were written so well. You just think there's these innocent little creatures, and then really they're so intelligent. I really love how that turned on its head. And yeah, it's just great to see more sci-fi in the cinema. I feel like I don't really get to see it anymore, but this one really took the sci-fi element and really hit it home for me.
Yeah, I don't know if either of you have seen Snowpiercer.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
It's coming back to that film,
Yeah.
which is another Bong Joon-ho film, and I really enjoyed that kind of sci-fi because you have for me, the comedy is what makes it, because anybody can make a serious sci-fi that's very dry, but kind of gets bogged down. I think without the comedy aspect, this film would have gone down that route. It would have been a bit too boring, a bit too slow. So for me, the comedy helps drive it. But yeah, I have to say that probably for me, the relationship between Mark Ruffalo and Toni Collette's character was something that I wasn't expecting to come out of this film with. Even though they're a bit crazy and she's obsessed with making these sauces pretty much the whole time.
I don't know what she was making, honestly.
It looked like the most disgusting sauce I've ever seen, but yeah, they seem to have one thing which I was actually surprised about in the film, which was they seem to have a love component to it, more of a true love, and you can see that in the latter part of the film when the events roll out. I won't give you any spoilers for that, but even just little scenes and things like that, you can see they lean on each other quite a lot, and it was something that I enjoyed from this film coming out of it. And yeah, Naomi Ackie was quite good as well, because they have a love too between Mickey and her character, and so yeah, I think that the love also speaks out in this film quite well, and you can see that in the scene where Kai, the security officer that they think is perfect for this, recolonizing efforts, tries to take one of the Mickeys, and she's like, they're both mine. So yeah.
For me, I don't know why, but the comedic aspect just didn't work. Even Steven Yeun character, he came out a bit cartoonish as well. Like when he's crying, like he was just pretending to cry. Those little moments just took me out of the movies. It didn't work for me.
In the book, he was the one character that was pretty much completely different to how he's in the film.
Okay.
So in the book, he's Mickey's friend, but he's a really famous hog ball player. That's a sport. And he like comes to the top of his game. And the reason why Mickey goes in the book is that he's going to play one last match before he gets on this plane or on the ship as a pilot, because it's a really sought after role. So in the film, they show the application process, but like, it's such a sought after role to get on this ship to the new world that like celebrities and people of notoriety are mainly getting all the spots. And he does this tournament and Mickey thinks, he's not going to win. So he bets all his money against him losing. And then that's how this whole loan shark thing comes into it. So it's a bit different from the macaron thing that they have going.
I like that. I
film.
like that bit because the way Mickey was portrayed, the character he is. So I think like he was just ignoring everything and going along. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed that part.
Yeah, because he's a very trustworthy guy. He's just
Yeah,
sort
he's
of
just,
like,
you know,
oh yeah,
goody
my
two
friend
shoes, yeah.
said go into this business, it'll be great. We'll be millionaires. You won't have to worry about anything. And then next thing you know, they're running away from this mafia type dude who's going to chop them up. So it was, yeah, I did enjoy why he decided to become an expendable, but yeah.
Yeah, I like the chainsaw. That was cool. This double-sided chainsaw thing. And you get to see it used, which is good.
Yeah.
Because, it adds the sense of fear to it. That they get brought in front of it and watch a guy get cut up. It's something that I found interesting.
Yeah,
As
it
part of
definitely made sense why Mickey chose to become an expendable, because in hindsight, it's the last thing you'd want to become.
Yeah.
But yeah, it made total sense. So I thought they sold that perfectly.
Yeah. And one other thing was, the inventor of one of the three inventors of the
printer.
the printing method.
Yeah.
So in the book, I reckon it's much more interesting than the film, because instead of like printing clones and killing people, he goes to an alien planet with the printer and then he wants to make clones of himself. So the only way he can do it is he kills people. So he starts killing all the people and feeding it back into the machine to make clones. But by the time the emergency message reaches another planet, there's like thousands and thousands of clones of himself. And so then they pretty much just blow up the planet. I reckon that would have been cool to see in the film, but
That would be a movie on its own, you know.
Yeah, pretty much. It would have extended the runtime about an hour, I think. But Keep It Simple was a good choice, I think. All right, guys, we're going to give our scores.
Yep.
Moon, how many Mickeys out of 10?
I'll give it 7.5 Mickeys out of 10.
John?
I'm going to give it 9 Mickeys out of 10.
Yeah, I'll give it 8.5 Mickeys out of 10. All right, guys, make sure to like, subscribe, check out our socials, and we'll catch you on the next one. Ciao.